This is a response for you, liwaldo, for your pantry project. A lot of the comments suggested that you completely redo the space with a renovation, and I wanted to suggest some ideas that didn't involve redoing your home with a renovation in case that's not in your budget. So all the suggestions I'm going to make are things you could pick up from a Best Buy or Amazon pretty easily. So I've done a drawing and I've labeled the different sections of your pantry: wall A, wall B, and wall C. And we're going to be going through the different tiers of wall A, wall B, and wall C. And I've tried to take into consideration the products I've seen in that photo you shared. So I know you have a lot of protein powder and a lot of nuts. You have a lot of pasta. I'd love to see what you cook. But I saw in your upper right hand corner of your pantry on the top shelf, you have a bunch of Tupperwares. They look like the right kind of Tupperwares. So I think you need to get a bunch of Tupperwares that look like these ones. I measured it out for the dimensions of the shelf that you sent me, and the small end is 3 inches, which is half an inch under what your limit is. However, the top does get a little wider, but I don't think it would be a deal breaker for you. And then the wide edge comes to a little over 4 inches. And for each of the different types of these Tupperwares, it just gets longer and taller so you can have more stored without taking up more surface space. But I think your labels should go on the wide side. This is how I have my baking supplies stored, but I would encourage you to put them flat against the wall as opposed to coming out the way I put them. Over in the center part of your pantry where you have your cane sugar and this wooden counter space, I think that would be better used if you were to put a couple different Lazy Susans and your heaviest items that require more support and counter space. So I drew up protein powder and the cane sugar since those look pretty colossal. This is how I use Lazy Susans in my household. I have my spreads, the honey, coconut oil, and lots of peanut butter, and then oils, vinegars. And here's a different example of how I keep my cleaning supplies in a Lazy Susan. This is a really good one because the compartments are detachable, if that's helpful at all to you. I see up top you have an abundance of pasta. As you can see on wall B, I've put a bunch of different containers where you can be storing that pasta so you can access it easily without it going stale or kind of just having half-used bags, because it does seem like you have a lot of open containers. And I'm not sure how much is in each of those containers, but it'd be easier to see what kind of pastas you have and how much it is, since it seems like your family's a really big pasta family. Here's how I've stored all of my rices. I don't eat a lot of pasta, but we eat a lot of rice. And so I can see exactly how much I have of each. I also see that you have a lot of instant rices or packages which come in cardboard boxes. I find usually in those containers there's a bag inside which is quite compact, and then the cardboard box just takes up space and looks great on a grocery store shelf but takes up too much room in your house. I have that too, and I just took it out of the cardboard box and put it into a Tupperware inside the instant rice container. Yours could probably be a lot bigger. Mine is only housing 2 of them. For wall A, I have put your snacks and chips up top because you have a lot of different types of snacks and chips and Skittles, and those are not heavy items. So if you put them up top, if it falls, it's not going to be a big deal. On the second shelf, I would put baking accoutrement, so all-purpose flour, baking soda, cocoa, sugar, because I saw you have a giant container of cane sugar, and then smaller items. And then below that, I saw you have a giant container of cappuccino mix. You could do beverages on the lowest tier shelf. So cappuccino mix, coffee beans, coffee whitener, if you do coffee mate, different drink mix. You have a giant container of protein powder. That could go in a container over here. And then you've got a bunch of random Tetra Paks, which could go next to it also. Down at the bottom, you have this cabinet where it looks like you have a lot of jars and maybe teas. And I thought in the bottom left one, you could have overstock containers. Then above that, you probably have a lot of different trash bags. Then in your top right one, you have a load of water bottles on the right-hand side of your pantry. And maybe you have more, but they could all go into the cupboard so they don't get dust inside, because it doesn't look like they have lids. And you could also pair it with other containers or Tupperwares. And I didn't see it from the photo, but the bottom cabinet on the right could be a good place for root veggies, onions, and potatoes. On wall C at the bottom, I saw you have wire bins, and those would be a good place for your cans. So you can see what cans you have. You have a lot of, looks like you have a lot of soup cans and maybe coconut milk. I noticed on your upper left hand corner of your pantry, you have a load of spreads, which look delicious, but I would be worried about having them up top like that, because if it falls, it could hit someone on the head. I would want to put them lower and just have them maybe at waist height, so that if it falls, it hits a toe as opposed to a head. At the bottom, on the bottom wall, that's just empty space. And that's where I was thinking the Command Clear caddies could go, and the grip hanger and the dustpan, as I showed earlier. Here are the products that I had in mind. These are just screen grabs from Amazon, but you could probably get them from the dollar store, or maybe you already have them. I was looking at how you have your spice rack done, and it looks like it's a good system. This is how I have my spice rack. I don't have shelves the way you do, and I just put them in a top drawer. I put them all in the same kind of container with a label so that I wouldn't have any kind of label fatigue. You might like doing that if you're wanting everything to be cohesive visually. At the end of the video, I've included a recap that you can just take a screen grab of if you wanted to. So the main key points are group and consolidate items, remove bulky packaging and create a cohesive aesthetic by removing excess color and branding. I hope that helped, and I would love to see it if you posted something about your progress or changes.